I want to congratulating you on getting to the close stage of the fungicide process. Asking for someone's business is respecting their time, respecting them as a person, and it's also respecting yourself. Think about all the things that you've done. You've prepared for the call. You've walked fields. You've uncovered their needs. You caused urgency. You did the math and you showed an ROI. You presented a proposal. Now it is time to close that business, and closing is asking what that next step should be. Okay? Now, depending on your relationship with the customer, depending on the trust level, depending on their situation in regards to fungicides in the past, well, your close may be different. But your close should always include and summarize their situation. And so, Mr. Farmer, you said there was 3 challenges that you were facing this year that a fungicide and the recommendation that I provided you could solve. So we're going to summarize their needs. We're going to summarize our recommendations. And then we're going to ask the farmer, do you see it the same way I do? Yes. Can we proceed then and get you scheduled so we can get you scheduled to get this application made in the window that we discussed that was important to you? So we're going to ask for scheduling permission. Can we get you scheduled? That's one way to close. Another way to close is it might not be on all their farm. It might not be the right decision on all their acres. And it might be that they say no. They say, well, I don't think I'll just wait. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you can say, well, one of your options would be to wait. What's the downside of getting protection on your farm if we wait? What would be the advantages of getting those farms that you signaled you really need to ring the bell on this year? What would be the advantages of first getting those scheduled and then discussing those other fields here in a few 4 or 5 days from now? So when someone says, I don't know, I'm ready to pull the trigger on everything, I just want you to say, that's one of your options. I understand. But what would be the advantages of protecting yield and growing yield and increasing standability on those acres that we know we have an issue on? You might remember the triple close. The triple close is one of the most fantastic ways to close and ask for someone's business. Why is that? Well, here's why. It forces me to follow my own checklist. What do you mean, David? Well, think about it. How silly do these 2 questions that I'm going to share with you here in just a few minutes, how silly does these questions sound if I haven't done a good job of, number 1, second phase and the third phase of my process? And so get ready. The first question I'm going to ask the farmer is, do you believe that I've done a good job of really understanding and helping you identify those problem fields that could be solved with a fungicide application? There's only 3 ways that farmer can answer that question, yes, no, or maybe. If I've done a good job, what are they going to say? They're going to say, well, yeah. The second question I'm going to ask is, do you believe I have the expertise? Do you believe that I've outlined services that are going to help us make the best call of when to apply, and then what we call after service? Do you believe I have the expertise, the knowledge, the service, and I've earned your trust to be able to move the needle on those farms that we discussed when it comes to a fungicide? This is all about expertise and knowledge and trust. So if you wanted to summarize the question, Mr. Farmer, Mrs. Farmer, do you believe I have the expertise? Do you believe I've outlined and presented you great recommendations Do you believe I've done that? There's only 3 ways that they can answer that question. Yes, no, or maybe. If I've done a good job, what are they going to say? Well, yeah. The third question is, do you want our help? Do you want my help in getting this scheduled? Do you want my help? And do you want to get a fungicide and the recommendations that we provided you? Get some action. Let's get those on the field. Do you want my help getting that scheduled? It's the triple close. Asking for someone's business, why some of us don't ask for the business is we're fearful of what? We're fearful of hearing no. I don't want you to be fearful of hearing no, because if you hear no, well, that's a great opportunity to help a farmer. So I want you to ask for their business. I want you to ask for scheduling. I want you to remind them of the recommendations that you provided. And one of the ways to not have fear, but to increase your trust, are to use 2 of the most powerful words you can ever use in a close. Are you ready? I recommend. I recommend that we move ahead. I recommend that we use the products and the tank mixes that I just shared with you. Would you agree? The I recommend close is just outstanding. It'll absolutely work. It's going to help you win. It's going to help your customer win. So don't be fearful. But what do I do if I hear no? What do I do if I hear, why don't you give me a little time to think it over? I want you to use these words. That's one of your options. I understand. You remember L in our listen stage? In our learn objection handling stage? We're going to use an empathy statement. I understand. Waiting is one of your options. I understand. In a year like this, it's sometimes tough to pull the trigger. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a few questions? How is increasing your bushels this year more important than ever? And how is it going to impact your cost of production if we increase bushels rather than if you lost bushels to disease? Have you considered the impact, if we don't move ahead on this, what that might cost you in the end? What are the costs of doing nothing? You see, the trust that people have in you, the respect they have in you, is formed by 2 specific things. Number 1, is your do to say ratio really high? Are you one that makes up a lot of promises but don't deliver? Or are you someone that you do what you're going to say you're going to do? Yeah. And the second way to increase trust is to ask difficult questions. To ask questions that push back in a very professional way the thinking that a customer might have. Your job is to offer a second opinion, right? If we go to the doctor and you don't know if you like the first opinion, sometimes that first opinion is a doctor, sometimes it's our own thinking. Your job is to offer a second opinion. And that second opinion is the questions that you ask. And when we ask great questions, your closes and your asking for the business becomes easier, because it's not about getting someone's business. It's about helping them reach their goals. Asking for the business is what we do during the close phase. When we've done a good job of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, the natural progression is to ask for their business. What is the ideal next step, Mr. Farmer? You said timeliness was really important in making sure that we get this sprayed. I agree. Can I get your approval so that I can get this scheduled and in the system? Reinforcing the decisions that you and he and she have made in the past is another great way to close. How have we made our best decisions in the past, Mr. Farmer? Well, we've done these things. Why would we want to change that in a year where more bushels is more important than they ever have been? I want you to have confidence in yourself. I want you to have confidence in your recommendations. And confidence is earned through your questions. It is earned through your recommendations. It is earned through your follow-up steps. That's what we get to do. That is what we get to do during the close stage. I want you to go out, close, and help your customers win in the field this fall.